off me time, but I'll still hang around once in a while.
Well, you gotta stop in.
Thank you.
I'm trying to learn how to afford a house here, this company won't pay me enough.
Yeah. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have update on the Cover Creek Road project, and that's me. Okay, so here's where we're at. Obviously, you see all the signs here.
Can't read it.
It's doing well in the building. We just need to get out to the street.
Where are we putting it?
It's going down where the road is crappy, down near, down hillside, or down where
Where
the
the road
mailbox
is crappy, so where in Lakewood?
is. So, we've got it set up, the frame is all set up. It should have been up a couple days ago, but we had a major sewer malfunction that we've had to spend 3 days fixing down at the sewer plant. So that's put us a little behind schedule, but that'll go up shortly. The survey work is done. I talked to the engineers. They have the CAD files now. They started the preliminary design work. Probably in a couple of weeks, they'll let me know we'll be walking it with the preliminary design in a couple of weeks. They're going to come out, according to the engineers, the surveyors embedded up into the GIS software a little over 19,000 shots up into the software. So they've surveyed flow lines, road, everything. All those orange dots you see throughout the city, they've all been uploaded, and so that is the design is moving forward. Next up, we'll be walking it, and as we walk it, literally walking it, we'll see things and say, well, let's have them come back and survey this, or they missed that, or something like that. I've had discussions with AT&T and Suddenlink. Suddenlink appears to be very enthusiastic about running fiber optic to the house. And they would run it through all the existing area in the shores. They would retrofit Meadow Lake, because Meadow Lake is on the poles, and it's between the houses. So basically, this side of town already has the system set. And it would be a different routing, so it would come down El Dorado, the fiber. There's no reason to touch this over here. There would be no improvement in performance. This is already fine. It is what it is. So the fiber would start at basically where the mailboxes are. It would be fiber from there down. And all new construction would be fiber. And it would be, obviously, phone, internet, cable television.
And they're talking about doing that at their expense?
It would be at their expense. There might be some participation, but it wouldn't be much. They basically have to figure it out. But they told me as a ballpark number, they said, look, just so you know, this was kind of the worst case scenario. There was a town, and I don't know the name of it, whatever, like way the heck out in left field, out, like over near the racetrack or something over there. And it was a little HOA community that had 80 houses, and they were near nothing. And they wanted fiber. So they asked Suddenlink to run it. And so Suddenlink went back to the HOA and said, look, we'll do it. But we got to bring the fiber, 20 miles or whatever to get here. And so there's only 80 houses in the whole HOA. And they said, but it's going to cost you $150,000. And the HOA agreed to pay $150,000 for the 80 houses to run it. Now there's fiber on Spinnaker Run on the other side. It's feet away, not miles away, and between land plan and the shores and Meadow Lake, you got 400 units of it. So it's a different animal. But they want to do it, it probably would cost us nothing. But it is what it is. And their speed is, it's fiber. So it's, it would be 1,000 meg down. And I'm talking to AT&T, they're less enthusiastic. Their corporate policy is that they will not upgrade existing lines. Once they're in, they will never change it, according to them. But they sense they might do it, but they're not sure. I don't care. Somebody's going to do it, because we have to have fiber optic cable in the shores, and on Meadow Lake, and in all the new development. It has to be fiber. So that's moving forward. That would be, they prefer to trench it. When we told them they could, they prefer to bore. We told them they could trench across the streets, they could trench through the yards, up near the street, because we're going to blow it up anyway. And they said, no, that's okay, we'd rather just put it all underground and just bore. That's what the companies do, they bore underground everything for the fiber. So that means it's not necessarily tied into the road construction. So if they agree, they can start it tomorrow. They don't have to trench across the roads. So that's good news from Suddenlink. Suddenlink is ready to go. And then there's some other things which I'll talk to you later. So that's on the internet service. Later on, one of the agenda items is about recycled water. We got to get that squared away because that's got to go into the streets. So I'll talk about that shortly. Other than that, it appears everything is going along according to schedule.
Good.
You know, the date's written on the sign. It's on the sign. So we're committed. March 12th is the D-Day. That's happening. So any kind of questions on the update? Okay, we'll keep rolling. All right, next up. So now we have the 3 ordinances in a row. These are the 3 ordinances that we talked about last month. So the first one is was the oversized vehicle ordinance. So what this does is this goes back and so I believe there's got to be one small change to this ordinance. All right, so this is the one that says you can't park your boats and your RVs and on the street. You got to park your big vehicles on your own property. You can park cars on the street, but you cannot park oversized vehicles. If you recall, in the junked car ordinance, we used to have the thing there saying you have to park your stuff on concrete. You can't park in the yard. That was in the junked car ordinance, so we took it out of that and put it here in the parking ordinance. So that's what the red is right here. The only wording that we need to change. Thank you. The last sentence here says the driveway to any approved surfaces. So you can't have an island. So you can't just pour concrete in the middle of your backyard and park your trailer in the middle of an island. It's got to be on a driveway. So everything has to be connected. So the driveway to any approved surface in any yard cannot encroach on the side setbacks. Well, that was in the old, we now allow that, but we allow you to only go in 3 feet from the property line if you're on the 7-foot setback side, and you can go 7 in?
I think 7, yeah.
7 in out of the 12, for the side swinging. So I think that last sentence needs to go, the driveway and the side or rear yard, shall meet the current zoning ordinance.
It just needs to reference the zoning ordinance.
Just say, shall meet the current zoning ordinance. That's all it needs to say. Okay. And other than that, I didn't change anything, so this is, again, making sure that you can't park these things on the street. And then this part down here was the part that I literally cut and pasted out of the junk car ordinance that says you got to park it on an approved surface. Okay, so it's the same as it was before, like I say. So, did anybody have any questions from last month, or have I addressed any issues from last month, Matt? Good. You're good? Okay. Ready to
Ordinance approve the oversized parking ordinance, or motion to approve the oversized ordinance.
Okay, so Clint made the motion.
Second.
I think he's done it.
Whenever it gets done, I'll second.
I think the final version had all the words in the order I wanted. I
Okay.
think the words were in every line, but they're finally in order finally.
Clint's got the motion. Daryl's got the second. All those in favor? Okay, thank you. All right, next up we have the consideration of the junked car vehicle ordinance here. So this one here, just the only change in this ordinance, I believe, was that it removed the parking on the approved surface. One thing you'll notice, just by way, is that you'll notice this ordinance is really long. That's the state of Texas, because a car is personal property. Going and taking someone, towing someone's car, and personal property, that's difficult to do. It's Texas. You know, you can't just walk up and take somebody's property. That's why this thing's got about 20 pages to it. It's very difficult to do junk cars. But it is what it is. So that's why I didn't even try to change anything else in the ordinance. And frankly, we don't have junk cars. We just don't. The only thing that's kind of different, it used to be in our ordinance here, and Clint, I think this is right, in a lot of cities you can cover it up with a tarp. In Lakewood Village, you can't do that. If you have a junk car, you have to put it behind a fence or behind, it has to be in a garage. It has to be in a,
Yeah, and even then, behind a fence, right, the backyard does not qualify as.
right, it's got to be on an approved, so basically you can't just tarp it and say it's out of sight. A lot of cities let you do that. You can't do that in Lakewood Village. It literally has to be in a garage or behind a barrier. So you can't, that's something that makes us a little different. But, you know, we don't, typically don't have it. All right, any questions on this? Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the junk vehicle parking ordinance.
Okay, Matt's got a motion to approve.
That's fine.
Second.
Just,
Just a second.
Daryl said it. You said that loud. You're too quiet.
All
Okay.
in favor?
All those in favor?
He said parking, and it's really not a parking ordinance. That's what I was
The
thinking
junk
about.
car ordinance. Oh. All right.
F7.
All right, next up. All right, next up, we have the consideration of the nuisance ordinance. So this is just some editorial comments. We change the nuisance ordinance about every 3 or 4 years, it seems like. We kind of tweak the wording here and there. Basically, with the nuisance ordinance, it becomes very difficult to objectively state things that are nuisances, because we don't, you know it when you see it, but objectively writing it down where you can go to a court of law and you've been put on proper notice ahead of time and you knew it, and it's very difficult with nuisances. And that's why we end up tweaking these periodically when something becomes a real nuisance and it's not literally in there. Then to help us out, we go in and literally put it in to help us out. But it's very difficult. The main thing is, of course, tall weeds and grass, because that's objective. 12 inches with a ruler, we can measure those. That's very easy, but it used to be stuff that offended the senses. What the world does that mean? How would you take someone in a court of law if they offended the sense? Whose sense? It's mine? I'm the one that does code enforcement, so so I did a little bit of tweaking on this. Nothing's changed other than there was some, just to recall, there were some issues about burning garbage, but no builder's ever burned their building materials with a new house 4 feet away from it. That's never happened here. It's actually in the International Building Code. It's already in there.
It's in our fire code.
And it's in the fire code too, so.
Redundant, confusing.
Exactly. There was some stuff in here about trim and gutters and all that. That's in property maintenance. There's no need to put it here. That will go in another ordinance set up. That actually is property maintenance stuff. This ordinance, like I say, we need to update it, and nothing stops us 2 years from now from updating it again when somebody.
When a new nuisance pops up.
Exactly. Somebody does some weird nuisance, and we go, oh wow, who thought that somebody was going to, put 50 head of cattle in their backyard? I don't know. But okay, any questions?
I make a motion to approve the nuisance ordinance.
All right, I have a motion to approve the amended nuisance ordinance.
I second.
Serena's got the second. All those in favor? Okay, thank you. All right, moving on. Discussion of emergency operations plan. Okay, so there's a couple of things that I need some help with. Oops. So I need help on a few things, and so these next 2 agenda items are basically a couple of things where I kind of want to describe to the council. I'm hoping that a couple of council members will volunteer to jump in. There's no timetable on it exactly, but so what this is, first one, discussing an emergency operations plan. So probably next month, Denton Emergency Response, the head of the emergency response thing out of Denton County. The regional guy is going to be here. There's a new agreement that we have to do for emergency services. So if tornado rips through here, we don't have to do anything. And Denton County manages everything. Little Elm comes. Everybody, cavalry comes. And Denton County Emergency Services handles that initial response. Then within that context, I'm the emergency response person as mayor. If I'm under the debris here at City Hall, Darrell becomes that person. But basically, that getting people rescued and putting out the fires is kind of on autopilot. What we really need, though, is if City Hall were to go away, we need a plan B. How do we keep the city running? So for instance, we have a utility building down at the sewer plant. We have a building there. And, what I'd like to do is I'd like to, first part of it, what do we need to make that operational? It's an office, it's got a bathroom in it. It's not finished out yet, but, what do we need? We need internet, we need to have some printer, like phone line. How could we make that a viable alternative if this building went away? Could we just, because all our stuff's on the cloud. Well, that's one of the assessments too. What's on the cloud? I believe we can operate. We have all cloud stuff, so literally all you need is a laptop, park yourself there, cloud up, and we're running. We're open for business. But I need somebody to walk through that and kind of, what do we need? What would make that ready? Just kind of brainstorm, because that to me is better than a trailer. If FEMA said, we'll give you a trailer, you can park it out in that field, there's no bathroom, there's no sewer line, there's no internet, there's no electricity. You know what I mean? That's great, but I don't think that's for us. The odds on this getting demolished and a building of a sewer plant getting wiped out, if that happens, then yeah, we'll take a FEMA trailer. Then, it sucks to be us, right? But somebody needs to go through this plan. The other part of this plan would be, the pump house is over there. What happens if we have a fire? Are we out of business? If those controls catch on fire, how do we run the water system? Should we have a vault underground, maybe somewhere out in the yard, low profile, that just runs one well and one pressure pump, which would keep us in business, have like remote operations. Or if a fire would be catastrophic to us because of the mercury switches and all, like we don't have ready parts, then should we have a fire suppression system there now? Like evaluate that. If it's catastrophic, then we should protect ourselves as best we can. Like Sam told me, the metal manifolds are steel. They're not going to melt if there's a fire. The rubber gasket will. Do we have the gaskets? Because it's, he could fix it, but if we don't have the gaskets, you can't run it. It'll flood the, you know what I mean? So it's finding our Achilles heel, just kind of evaluating what do we do. If maybe one of these cement trucks runs through the fence and takes out the building. I don't know. There's no timetable on it, but we don't have that plan. We don't have anything to pull off the shelf. We don't have anything to do in a natural disaster. We don't know what to do. And I'd like to have a plan as best we can. Okay? So, if you can think about it, there's no timetable, like I say, and it's more just thinking out of the box to, to kind of think about, what would we do if we had a problem. But I don't need you to come with a plan of, rescuing people or, Red Cross, and that's already taken care of. Okay, so, if you guys can think about it, you want to do a little bit of language, just think about it, just let me know, and we'll put it on the big whiteboard in the back. So that's one thing. Next up is a discussion of the recycled water project. Okay, so one of the things that we're doing now is we have about 42,000 gallons a day on average that we dump into the lake. It's chlorinated, there's tested for E. coli, you can drink it. It's perfectly fine, but we dump it in the lake. We need to use that. We probably need to use it for our new entrance. We probably need to use it for the new roads that are going to be coming in for irrigation, so we don't use well water. I don't know what we're going to use it for exactly, but I know right now it's located at the wastewater plant. So we got to get it from there to the other side of High Ridge. And we got to do it before the roads go in. If we can't bore under the streets, we're not going to bore under the streets. We're fortunate in that Green Meadow is already a disaster of a street. You wouldn't even know it if we ripped it up. So we need to get a plan. So that plan encompasses getting the line in, where it's going to go, and it requires permitting from TCQ, some tests that have to be done, because we're going to be tier 1, which means you can use it on anything, except you can't drink it. Okay. And then there's permitting, and there's some, Patterson will have to get involved in certain testing. Somebody's got to run that gauntlet. And I can't, I don't have time. I just can't do it with the financing, and then closing the books, doing the audit, dealing with S&P, doing the engineering. I need help with that. So if somebody can get that plan of attack, because we really want to get that in, and just stub it out on the other side of High Ridge, we'll figure out, does it go down the trail? Who knows? But is that because I think we're committed to it. Look, we're dark skies now. I mean, using recycled water has got to be the way to go, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of water to waste.
That's one of those storage tanks a day.
Yeah.
A day, and it's only going up, right? It's not decreasing. It's going up.
So we know we don't want to use our well water for any irrigation projects for the town or any of the new development or anything, because our aquifers from last year, they can mess with us. So this is really important. I think.
And part of this is part of this might be interacting with land planning, because with some of their designs, do you want to have like water? Do you want to have if you can imagine that if right now we dump the recycled water out at the sewer plant, it goes right out the back of it into the lake over there. Well, if land plan said we'd like for you to dump it in the ravine up here, so that water is constantly running, up here, down to the lake, so if you got kind of a lazy river going to the lake, and eventually whatever water there is might end up at the back of that cove. It ends up in the lake anyway. But maybe that's helpful to wildlife back in the, I don't know. But to me, let's use it rather than dump it. So I need somebody to brainstorm a little bit, and because that does have a deadline, because March. And so, and we're not going to put down the base and the compaction and the moisture checks and everything and build the road and then bore through all that. That's why we don't bore. We never bore under our streets. So if somebody on the council would jump in on that, I'd appreciate that. That's something that's got to get done. But it doesn't require a lot of on-the-ground work. It just requires, checking the boxes. Does that make sense? Okay. So if you guys will let me know if somebody would like to step up on that, that would be great. Okay, next up is, anybody have any questions, by the way? I mean, I'm going kind of fast. Everybody on board with that, right? Okay.
Thanks for stating that was fast. Thanks for letting us know that was fast.
Okay. All right, update on some community events calendar. So, Linda, did you want to? Linda's got your name on it. Is that name still, or did you have something?
That's actually Linda.
You wrote Asbel next to it.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
But it's the MDD projects that the MDD's taking.
Okay, so there's a couple of things coming up on the calendar. So Linda Loudon is here. So Linda, why don't you let us know about what your plans are?
Hi, everybody. So the MDD decided this year, thanks to Robin, one of the MDD board members, we're going to do a chili cook-off November 9th. We're going to have a couple of sheriff's departments judge on the chili cook-off, so everybody bring their chili, and we're going to have hot dogs. The MDD is going to do the hot dogs and some desserts, so we thought it'd be something different.
Now this is instead of picnic, or this is the picnic.
This is the picnic.
Chili.
This is going to be the chili this is gonna be the chili cook-off picnic for all the residents. Bernadette has said that she would do the entertainment, MC. The fire department said that they would be here. I've got to call the bounce house. So we're just gonna do it a little bit later, kind of get everybody in the fall season and kind of do it, I think it'll be fun, trying to do it, MDD cook-off. Gary said that he's gonna do the Halloween hayride. Right now, he said he didn't need anybody's help. And then Bernadette agreed to do Christmas again this year with her team. So we'll get those dates out as soon as we have them. So that's all we have for right now. So November 9th, we're gonna do it all. The MDD's gonna do it all.
Okay.
Sounds like fun.
Thank you.
So 5 o'clock, Saturday.
No football, I think it's the Army Navy is the only game that day, so it's not Texas OU.
What time we send, are you guys sending stuff out ahead in advance? Flyers, anything like that?
Probably we'll do it, well, Linda's gonna design the signs, so we're gonna get signs made.
I think they're doing the banners, like
The banners.
Chris, like
Remember
Kristen.
those?
Oh,
The banners, we're gonna put the banners out, because a lot of people, I mean, they'll probably put it in the water bill again, sometime in October.
It'll be in the mayor's letter, of course.
Yeah, so, but it's not, we're excited, I mean, I'm glad Brahma came up with something different, we're kind of tired of the pork.
Vegetable pork-free.
Pork-free. I mean, it was good, but, it just had to be something different.
So I bring some pork chili.
I know that last MDD president was not very, not thinking out of the
Or,
box.
I don't, talk to him, I don't know who it was.
Anyway, so that's all we have. So we're excited, we're gonna try to get everything lined up and the bounce house. We're gonna try to get the same bounce house last year, the big one, because the kids really seemed to like that one. It was more obstacle course. We kind of had that one.
You can have judges too, right?
We're gonna have judges.
Is the officer back there, judge?
Just be a judge.
I'm not a good judge.
You're not a good judge?
Every food is good to me. It would not
So,
be-
yeah, we're gonna have a couple judges and probably maybe give some sort of little prizes or something away.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks, Linda.
That's great, Linda.
Thank you. All right, then the last item, the minutes have been pulled. We're going to do those next time, right, Linda?
Right.
Real quick, so just so everybody knows, we've moved up the calendar on the audit. So September 30th, obviously, this is the end of the fiscal year, September 30th. The auditors are going to be in on, I believe, around the 15th. I'll let you know when we're going to do the field work. We moved that up a couple of weeks. So we're going to be, busting it at the end of the month to get the audit report done, get all the audit books closed. The audit is going to be finalized a month early, so instead of December or January, we have the audit in our hands by November. So we're
Work
going
with the finance team and everything.
Yes, we're trying to get everything up fast and early so we can get it to standard reporters ahead of time. We're just trying to move everything as fast as we can forward. In case there's an issue, we can always do it at the regular time. But the financials are phenomenal this year. I mean, right now, it's the best year in Lakewood Village's history that I've ever seen. We got 9 houses underway. I mean, it's just, I'm looking forward to this audit. This audit's going to be fun. Speaking as an accountant. All right, so that's kind of it on the big events. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to go to executive session. So we're going to recess an executive session, 5510712, text government code with consultation with town attorney, the matter of duty attorney of the governmental body, and text of any rules of professional conduct, clearly reflects the chapter of legal advice. 5510711, text government code with consultation with the town attorney pending conflict of litigation. 5510772, text government code with deliberations about real property. 551087, text government code with economic development. 5510776, text government code with deliberations about security devices. So we are going to go into executive session at 8:02. We're going to stay here, so you get to go outside.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Linda.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.